In the frozen wilds of Siberia back in 1869, a boy named Grigory was born into a simple peasant family. Life was harsh, endless winters, back-breaking farm work, and a world ruled by superstition. As a young man, Grigory had a wild streak, getting into fights and chasing thrills, but a near-death experience changed everything. He fell gravely ill, vowed to turn his life around if he survived. And when he did, he became a wandering holy man, roaming the countryside, preaching and claiming mystical powers. People whispered that he could heal the sick and see the future. Drawing crowds with his piercing stare and hypnotic voice, he wasn't a priest, just a self-taught mystic, but his reputation grew like wildfire. By 1905, word of this cryptic figure reached the glittering palaces of St. Petersburg, where the Russian royal family was in crisis. The Tsar, Nicholas II, and his wife Alexandra had a son named Alexei, the heir to the throne, who suffered from a rare blood disorder called hemophilia. Even a small cut could be life-threatening and doctors were helpless. Desperate, Alexandra turned to anyone who promised hope. That's when Rasputin, now going by that name, which roughly means the debauched one, from his wild youth, entered their lives. Introduced through court connections, he visited the palace during one of Alexei's bleeding episodes. Rasputin prayed over the boy and miraculously, the bleeding stopped. Was it faith healing, hypnosis, or just coincidence? No one knew for sure. But to the royal family, it was a miracle. From that moment, Rasputin became indispensable. Alexandra saw him as a divine messenger, sent by God to protect her son. Nicholas, though more skeptical, tolerated him because he kept the family stable. Rasputin moved into elite circles, advising on everything from personal matters to politics. He preached peace and simplicity, often clashing with the aristocracy who viewed him as a crude outsider. But his influence deepened during World War I when Nicholas left to lead the army, leaving Alexandra in charge. She relied on Rasputin for guidance, and he pushed for ministers he favored, some say to line his own pockets or settle scores. Rumors flew he was manipulating the throne, using his powers to control the Tsarina. Behind the holy facade, Rasputin's life was a whirlwind of scandal. He reveled in St. Petersburg's nightlife, drinking heavily and surrounding himself with admirers, especially women. Tales spread of wild parties where he'd boast about his conquests, claiming sin was necessary to truly appreciate redemption. Some said he belonged to a secretive sect that mixed religion with forbidden rituals involving ecstatic dances and intimate encounters to achieve spiritual enlightenment. Was this true or just vicious gossip from jealous nobles? Fact-checking the era's accounts shows much was exaggerated by his enemies. Diaries and letters reveal he did have affairs, but the wilder stories, like orgies and bathhouses, were likely amplified to discredit him. Still, his behavior fueled outrage among the elite who saw him as a threat to the monarchy's dignity. As Russia's war efforts faltered, millions dying on the front lines, food shortages sparking riots, blame fell on Rasputin. Nobles whispered he was a German spy, sabotaging the country because Alexandra had German roots. Theories swirled. Was he poisoning the Tsar's decisions to weaken Russia? Debunking this, historians point to no solid evidence of espionage. It was wartime paranoia. Another secret, his healing of Alexei. Modern experts suggest he used hypnosis to calm the boy, reducing stress that worsened bleeding, or perhaps simple aspirin avoidance since it thins blood. No magic, just practical insight mixed with placebo effect. By late 1916, a group of conspirators led by a prince named Yusupov decided Rasputin had to die. They lured him to a basement party with promises of fine wine and company. First, they fed him cakes and wine laced with enough cyanide to kill several men. but he kept eating and chatting, unaffected. Was he immune? Theories say the poison was old or improperly mixed. Debunks confirm cyanide can degrade, and sugar in the cakes might have neutralized it. Frustrated, they shot him point blank. He fell, but then rose, growling like a beast, and fled into the snowy courtyard. More shots followed, yet he staggered on. Finally, they bound him and dumped his body in the icy Neva River. When found days later, autopsy revealed he drowned, not from bullets or poison, lungs full of water, suggesting he was alive when submerged. Myths exploded. His body wouldn't die, cursed by dark forces. Reality? He was tough from his peasant life, and adrenaline kept him going briefly. Some even theorized British agents helped the plot, fearing Rasputin's anti-war stance would pull Russia out of the alliance. Declassified files hint at involvement, but it's unproven. More speculation than fact. Rasputin's death didn't save the monarchy. Revolution erupted months later, toppling Nicholas and his family in tragedy. Yet Rasputin's legend endured, inspiring books, films, and songs portraying him as a demonic Svengali or misunderstood healer. Secrets linger. Buried letters show he predicted his own end and the fall of the empire if he died violently. Which happened? Was it prophecy or lucky guess? Theories of occult ties persist, like hidden rituals influencing history, but debunks trace them to sensationalized memoirs. In the end, Rasputin was a man of contradictions, a peasant who toppled empires, a sinner hailed as a saint, whose life blurred faith and folly in Russia's turbulent twilight. His story reminds us how one enigmatic figure can ignite chaos, leaving echoes that still mystify a century later.